we are the Pardon Board reconvening at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center on Monday, February 13th, 2023. The time is 10:05 a.m. With the staff at Hunt, please introduce yourself for the record.
Good morning, Warden Donnie Bartlaw.
Christy LeBlanc, classification.
Joe Buttress, Assistant Warden.
All right, good morning. And we have before us, Mr. Lavigne, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
Yes, ma'am. James Conrad Lavigne, 356109.
Right. Council with you this morning. Good morning, sir. Would you introduce yourself?
Good morning, Keith Nordyke, appearing on behalf of James Lavigne.
Okay, and before we get started this morning, Mr. Nordyke and Mr. Lavigne, it's been Judge Bonnie Jackson served as the trial judge in the case of Mr. Lavigne. She's on the pardon board this morning. Is there any objection to her participating in this case?
No, ma'am. In fact, I consider it an honor.
None whatsoever, Your Honor.
We also have Judge Tony Marabella, who represented a co-defendant in this case. Is there objection to him participating this morning?
No, ma'am, not at all.
No, Ms. Renatson, none, no opposition at all.
All right, so we will proceed. So, Mr. Lavigne, I'll read some identifying information into the record, after which we'll conduct the interview with you. Let me just ask the folks who are there with you, I don't have a list of who they are. If we could introduce your guests who are there at front.
Yes, ma'am.
Kaylin Gregg.
Go ahead, sir.
And I'm Jim Levine, his father.
Okay.
We also have his mother, Roberta Lavigne, and his nephew, Jordan Lavigne, who's outside the camera view.
Okay, and we also have joining by Zoom, we have Anthony Orazio, Melissa Gates and aunt, Mike Gasho, friend, Anthony Legault, I'm sorry if I've mispronounced those names, employer. I will, we can allow 3 folks to speak on behalf, so at the appropriate time, Mr. Nordyke, do you know who will be speaking?
I do, I'll speak at the end, but I understand that Mr. Levigne's father, his fiance, and Michael Gottschall will be the 3 speakers. Otherwise, they've been advised that we have 10 minutes max, 2 minutes and a half each.
Thank you. Okay, so at the appropriate time, we'll call on those who've indicated they'd like to speak on your behalf. So, Mr. Lavigne, as mentioned, your DOC number is 356109. You're here this morning seeking a commutation of your sentence. You were sentenced in East Baton Rouge Parish, September 1995, to a life sentence for a second-degree murder conviction. Mr. Lavigne, is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay, your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman this morning. Would you answer his question?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Levine, how old are you?
I'll be 50 in March.
And how long have you been in jail on this charge?
Just a little over 30 years.
30. What's your educational level?
Right now, I'm attending college through Ashland University. I have several boat tech degrees, and I have a GED.
Yeah, you received your GED while you was in prison?
No, sir, just before my arrest.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about what went on that night? What was going through y'all mind? What was y'all planning?
Originally, it started out, we were supposed to go and steal a vehicle for the purpose of getting Dale Craig, one of my co-defendants, to get him to his girlfriend's house. We made a few attempts to steal the vehicle, never were able to get one. And eventually it turned out to, well, we're all just going to go out and see what we can do. And Dale Craig basically shoved his gun in Kip Gullett's face and forced him back into his vehicle. We all got in the vehicle and left. We rode around for a little while, and finally, ostensibly, we were supposed to knock him out and leave him. I struck Mr. Gullet on the back of the head, knocking him out. Dale Craig shot him in the head. And when we left with the vehicle, we went to his girlfriend's house and she wasn't even there. She'd already made it back to Craig's house on her own. Rendering the whole thing completely pointless. The next morning, we went and dumped the vehicle on the levee and set it on fire.
Were y'all high on drugs or drunk?
Not during the commission, no, sir. I mean, I routinely drank and used drugs at the time, which kind of predisposed me to the whole thing, but not at the time of the commission, no, sir.
Have you received any treatment for your
Yes, sir.
drink? Drugs?
Yes. I've been through all the substance abuse classes that they offer. Early on, I joined the AA group at David Wade, and I attended that for a while. I stopped because I never felt the need or the desire to use, and I figured I was okay. Recently, I started going again because I've been able to handle this okay. But if I go back out there, I don't know what I'm going to face. I'm a little scared. I don't want to fall back. Yes, sir.
You consider yourself alcoholic?
Of course. I mean, once you're sick, you're with addiction, you're always sick. Which is why I started attending again, because I don't know what kind of new stresses I'm going to face. And I want to make sure I don't fall back into that trap.
What would be your sobriety plan?
First step, I'm gonna need a sponsor. Somebody that I know can hold me accountable. Somebody to watch my back and make sure I don't go back into the same patterns. I don't plan to, I definitely don't. I've got a pretty good support system. But I want to find somebody who's independent of me and my family. So they're not prejudiced or biased towards me doing stupid things and saying it's okay. Does that make sense?
Sir, Doug? It's weird, but the parents are unopposed to you getting out.
I'm sorry, they're not opposed?
The parents
Yes, sir.
are unopposed to you getting out. What kind of pain do you think you're causing these people?
Can't even imagine. I've tried to play a game with myself. The closest thing I have to a child is my nephew. And I've asked myself a dozen times, more than a dozen, what would I feel if something happened to him? I can't even imagine. They're amazing people that they can not oppose. Because I can't even begin to imagine what I did to them.
I see you've taken several classes.
Yes, sir.
Just give one or two of them that affected you the most.
A couple that have affected me the most. Definitely, I've taken several victims awareness and victims impact classes. I think this last one hit me the hardest. You know, because I've had so many things going on with the pardon hearing and so on and so forth. And I think the victims impact, because part of what we did is we watched videos of people that survived a crime. And every time I tried to put the Gullet family's face on that victim to try and better understand what I did to them. So I think that one definitely. I know the one that's had, it's not really a class I took, but the hospice program. Really, really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I actually had to stop hospice for a while because I got kind of close to a couple of those guys. And I had to watch them go. Willie Peters especially, that was really hard for me. So as far as an impact, I think definitely the hospice and the victims impact classes.
Okay. You also, I see, are sign language interpreter.
Yes, sir.
Still out with that?
Yes, it's still involved. We're trying to get that back online. They're trying to do it all computer based now through Zoom and whatnot. It's had an impact. But I think more than that, it's just really opened my eyes to a lot more things that are out there. That's been more of a joy than anything. I've really enjoyed the sign language program, meeting some of those people.
I see you did the victim impact program.
Yes, sir.
With the dialogue, I'm talking about offender dialogue.
Oh, the VOD, yes, sir.
Yes.
I did. I wasn't even going to mention that. I did. I met with Ms. Gully. I feel like she let me off easy. She was nicer to me than I deserved. And just an amazing, amazing woman. Thank you. Yeah, she's pretty special.
Okay. You remember Toastmasters?
Toastmasters, yeah. I've been involved in Toastmasters for a very long time. Probably about 12, 13 years.
I'm not even trying to go through everything you've done since you've been in there. It's pretty impressive. I would say this, you haven't wasted your time while you've been there. Low risk, security is minimum. You had 12 write-ups. The last one was in 2008. Martin, what can you tell me about Mr. Lavigne?
Yeah, Mr. Freeman, like I said, he's accomplished a lot since he's been here. But he's also given back a lot to the offender population. He serves as a mentor, and like you said, with the hospice program, he's got a lot of family support, as you can see. He's got a good transition plan for his sobriety and for employment. The staff speaks really high of him. He's definitely doing the right things here. Thank you.
I have no further questions.
All right, the folks who've indicated they'd like to speak on your behalf. First, we'd like to hear from the folks who are there at Hunt. Kayla, could we hear from you?
Okay. My name is Kaylin Grigg, and just to give you a little background, I worked for the state for over 17 years with information security. So I do a lot of work with law enforcement. So I have a good respect for the law anyway. I met James when we were teens, and he was extremely an angry boy. And now most teens are, but he's kind of excessive. Then we met again later in life, and he is completely different, a completely changed person. He's very at peace with his life and trying to help other people be at peace with it too. He's someone I'm very proud to know and to be with. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to hear from Mr. Jim Lavigne.
Jim Lavigne, James's father. As Kalen said years ago, he was a very angry young man. So bad that when he was in parish prison, I blocked the number several times because quite often the conversation ended up with his mother crying. He calmed down. He went to Wade for several years and started turning his life around. Now he's had hospice. He's an accomplished woodworker. He's mentored many people. He was Toastmaster of the Year. He's done a bunch. Every course he could take, he's taken. He's done nothing but work to improve himself and to become a proper citizen. And so, in light of his improvements, I ask that you let him come home so they can be the contributing citizen to our society rather than a burden. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, and then Mr. Gasho.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Thank you, for giving me this opportunity. I was granted parole about almost 5 years ago. So I've known almost 30 years. I think it was 1994 when he came to Wade. I have slept next to him. I have been in cell blocks with him, in the dorms with him. And like, he was angry, he was an angry kid. When he got there, he was almost like a caged wild animal. But even from day one, he always had the very best advice for me, even though he didn't take it himself. And, there's a period, in the beginning of anybody's incarceration where it's not really, it's not real. And it took him a while to realize that, just like, I did. I felt like it was just an eye opener when his co-defendants started going home and he was still there. And it was like a light switch went off in his head. And he started taking his own advice. He started just helping, everybody around him become better people. And that's what, made him a better person. When you give of yourself, that, helps, your soul. And I feel like he's a amazing teacher, and he's been, a mentor for me for many years, and he's always had great advice, and which has led me to be successful. And I feel like him staying in prison is a waste. I feel like him being able to speak to troubled youths would be amazing in the community out here. So thank you for hearing me, and I pray that y'all grant this clemency today for him. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Lavigne, before we turn it over to your attorney, what would you like to say to the board?
I've thought about this a lot, and I thought I'd have something prepared, but I don't. It changes every day. The main thing I want to say is to that family, the Kipps family. I know I took more out of the world than I could ever put back in. He was doing what he was supposed to do. He was doing the right things. And he should have never even met me. I want to take it back. I want to back the clock up and do something different. something that would leave him in the world. I can't ever say I'm sorry, I know. I've tried to make my life mean something. That's what drives me, that's what keeps me moving. Is knowing that I took something out of the world. I hope that I can put some good back in. And wherever I am, whatever happens here today, I'm going to continue to work with whoever I can, doing whatever good I can, wherever I am. I put my family through hell, and I know it. They're suffering just as bad as I have. And one of the main things I've learned is that I'm not the center of the universe. Everything I do affects other people, good or bad. I'm sorry. Thank you for listening.
Mr. Nordike?
Thank you. I think what we've seen today is a remarkable demonstration of remorse and rehabilitation both. And we often see these in pardon hearings, clemency hearings, commutation hearings, but this one stands out. This one stands out. And it stands out for a couple of reasons. One is the memo I filed has about 5 pages of accomplishments, which is in and of itself unique. It shows a man who's been busy and kept himself busy the entire time he's been incarcerated. But if you look behind the sheer numbers, what you see also are a number of things that are giving back. His mentorship, his hospice work. It takes a lot to be a hospice volunteer. That's not an easy job for anybody. I'm not sure I could do it. And I just have to say that's an amazing thing. He's been through, I wasn't going to mention it, but it was brought up earlier. He's been through the VOD program, which also takes a lot. And he did it, and I commend him for it. He's had all of the major programs that this board has been requesting: Cage Your Rage, anger management, victim awareness, T4C, 100 hours, living in balance. He's got a residence plan, he's got a sobriety plan, he's got a family support network. And amazingly, he doesn't have opposition from the parents. I would ask for his commutation and parole eligibility, and we'll go from that point. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you. All right. Board,
Yes,
let's
ma'am.
start with Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Lavigne, I really feel you've been very straightforward with us today. And that's kind of unusual. You didn't duck around none of the questions. You answered them truly. And we appreciate that. Also, like your dad said, you've done a lot to improve yourself. And you've given back to your prison community. Now I really feel like it's time to give back to society, not just the prison community. So my vote today is going to be to grant to commute your sentence to 62 years with parole eligibility.
Thank you, Mrs. Jackson.
Thank you.
Mr. Lavigne, we meet again.
Yes, ma'am.
I remember the conversation at the request of your attorney that we had where I talked to you about the law principles.
Yes, ma'am.
Advised you, to take that into consideration as you were pondering the offer that the district attorney's office made for you to plead to manslaughter. And at that time, manslaughter only carried 21 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And I really felt bad, when you didn't take the advice. And you ended up becoming, going to trial and being convicted of second murder. But as I look at you now, my thought is, you know what? It's a good thing he didn't take it. Because had he taken it, he would not be the man sitting with us today. Would not have been the transformed individual that we see today. And so out of good, out of bad can come a lot of good. And you have demonstrated a lot of good. You have standing institutional record. You have worked very hard on yourself. But more impressively, you have given back to people. You have experienced the grace of forgiveness that came from Kip's mother. And I think that has had a profound impact on you. So my vote today, likewise, is to commute your sentence. Was it 62 years?
Yes, yes.
62 years with parole eligibility.
Thank you.
Mr. Rocha?
Mr. Lavigne, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm very impressed by the excellent performance during incarceration.
Thank you.
The positive remarks for an excellent transition plan. And the victims' parents are unopposed. You don't see that very often. My vote is a little different than Mr. Freeman's. My recommendation is that we commute your sentence to 60 years with immediate parole eligibility.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am.
Madam Chairman. Mr. Lavigne, it's very clear to me you are a totally different person than you were when this happened.
Yes,
Your
sir.
remorse is clear, it comes through. How you have transformed yourself is I know what Judge Jackson said. As a former judge, that's what we want to see people who go to prison for.
Yes, sir.
You have accomplished everything anyone could have ever asked of you on prison. And I was involved in representing Zebby Berthelot.
Yes,
To
sir.
me, Ms. Gullett's letter in her support of you is phenomenal. It tells me who she is, and it tells me who she knows you are. So my vote likewise is the same, and I'm not a mathematician, and I'm not sure why Mr. Roche said 60 years instead of 62, but I'm going to go along with the 60 years because that might get you out much quicker. So that would be my vote, to recommend commutation 60 years with parole eligibility. So good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Mr. Lavigne, I want to compliment you on the work that you've done. You know, you said that you'd had a lot going on. You've been prepared for this for quite a while for today. But it's clear from the record that you started preparing early on in your incarceration. Never knowing this would be a possibility for you. You've done a lot of hard work, and I want to commend you for your service to others. My vote today also is to grant the commutation of sentence, and my vote would also be for the 60 years. So you take a unanimous vote to recommend commutation of your sentence, and the majority recommends a commutation to 60 years. So that is the recommendation we're making. Good luck.
Thank you, ma'am. Take care, guys. Thank you.
That concludes our business at your facility. We're going to adjourn. It's 34. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.